Hello and welcome. This is a new part of my usual streaming where I'll be focused on creative writing. So this is let's get straight to it. This is creative writing, world building, all that stuff. The goal is to kind of move forward my personal story universe called Struggle for Balance, and figure out all the necessary things and backgrounds for the world building. In few of the past streams that were on this topic, uh, I focused on, because it's a sci-fi, it sets about 1,000 years in the future or so. The question is, how will the current things develop? How will they impact the world? And that kind of caused me a lot of problems, a lot of struggles, because it's think at this point it's if you are watching carefully, a lot of the things today will have a impact on the future, I would say, in quite a big way. Of course, the question, and I think the things that we see that are going on are not things like events type of 9/11, and then we have 2 decades of war on terror and all those things. uh, these things are really generational. These are things that can take effect in matters of centuries. So it's not sometimes some that you can easily identify, that you can uh, could say work around, or make a nice identification and extrapolation. um, that's not how these things work. You can predict them, you can make extrapolations, but right now there is so many of them, and it's very difficult to kind of figure out how things are going to move forward. And that's causing me a lot of anguish, because it's just not like one thing. It's like 100 of them, and each of them can have significant impact. Just take global warming, take all the migration stuff, and the clash of cultures. uh, so just these two can have tremendous effect. Then you have the American and China, uh, say, conflict, the same thing, and then into that Russia. So then we have all the economical, and then we have all the societal impacts, from impacts of feminism, globalization, and all those things. So um, that is very, you know, just so many, um, so many things happening here. And that's what I've been looking at in the past. For my stories, I had to kind of figure out, how do things work. And the more I think about it, the less I'm confident I can build something that uh, is going to be approachable. Because I can make all these predictions, I can extrapolate, I can build world around that. um, and of course, then as it expands more and more, I have much more, I would say, power in shaping of where it goes with aliens, alien technologies, and all the fun stuff. That's why I think everybody is here for. So where do I, how do I kind of approach this? And I was thinking a lot, and this has been kind of the focus of the last few streams on this topic. Was, okay, maybe we can just have a one kind of big event that will kind of create a big blank slate, in a manner of speaking, or kind of resolve all these issues in a very abrupt way. And kind of looking at some of my notes on in general and other things here, that kind of made more sense. So that is what I'm looking at, and I've kind of found very interesting here. It's the crustal tilt, not necessarily maybe theory, or um, it's kind of like one of the in the science of catastrophism, which is about dealing with these huge transformative catastrophes. The idea or behind this is, and some of the observation, it's, space weather comes into this. What our sun does and what's kind of happening in general. That's what's called space weather across galaxy. And the idea is that through the activity and everything, the poles are going to shift. That's the magnetic poles, and through that, the things that cause it, the crusts are going to unlock from, you could say, their positions as they are, kind of going against each other, and that's why you have earthquakes and volcanoes and all that stuff. But right now, we could say they are relatively locked in where they are, and the idea is that they are kind of going to unlock and shift as well in a matter of days. So it's going to pretty much shift by 90 degrees because of with all the rotation, and also given where we still have the icebergs, or not really iceberg, but we have the ice at the poles. That's a lot of weight. Greenland is also a lot of weight. So that's going to, because of rotation, shift everything 90 degrees, and change how where we have where we have kind of the North Pole, South Pole, and all those things. So that's going to, of course, cause a lot of issues. A lot of natural disasters. Pretty much all the volcanoes are going to go up, which is also issue with the super volcanoes potentially. And then we have a lot of waves. We have all the ice probably melting as well. So it's going to it's like a global catastrophe on biblical proportions. Some theories are that this has happened before. I think it's like a cycle of 20,000 years, or actually maybe even more than that. And that's what the Bible and all the other holy books with floods, all those things, that's what they are depicting, that's what they are talking about. And which in a way, if you don't have developed enough civilization, but even if after that, if civilization get destroyed, passing it down through the religious texts is one of the ways why that is going to be preserved. So that's kind of the big theory behind it. And for me as a writer, what it allows me to do, first of all, tremendous amount of stories just after the apocalypse, who is going to survive, why they are going to survive, how is it going to look 100 or 200 years after this event. So there's just so much stories to do and a lot of things to explore, and that's what we kind of explore. And right now, we've kind of did it also partially with AI, so apologies, I didn't have to do much. So let's move on kind of here to my friend Grok, where we have all the entire things saved. So we had Grok 3 before, now we have Grok 4. So I kind of want to kind of get back into it, get a summary, get more so far, research the event and summarize the main event again, and provide a detailed description of the questions, a detailed outline of what happened in our fictional world, and some predictions into the future. Well, let's see what Grok cannot do here if it can summarize the entire conversation. So let me also zoom in. So it's actually I can let's zoom a little bit more here, and let's see if I can. Okay, we have my browser here. So let's give it a bit more time to see if it can summarize what we have here. And I've been thinking about this also a lot because over the weekend or last week I've been reading the Central Imperium series from Jan Kotoch. It looks over there. Not sure if you can barely see them. Yeah, right over here. Not sorry. So it's there over there, and it was very interesting. But at the same time, I was thinking. Because there was like a lot of cultures and not just uh, based on the space or like the different planets, but also a lot of the earth culture. So there's quite an emphasis on Scotland because one of the military units is from Scotland, and or not like necessarily like from Scotland, but they have kind of Scotland as their base, and they're like all into the Scottish culture, which is lot of fun in the story there. So let's see what's going on here. Okay, so it's thinking. So let it think, let it cook. Probably best if let's go like this. So because then we'll be still talking. So that's kind of happening there a lot. But I kind of feel it kind of has frozen to the cultural diversity that we have today, uh, and like kind of everything around it, which makes for great reading um, in the story. But I want to go a bit more beyond that. So that's why I want to have something a bit different, because I'm also not maybe as optimistic as Jan Kotoch in the future development of humankind. So let's see. So crustal tilt event. So we have the cataclysmic event in 23. Solar micronova, a massive outburst of solar energy, triggers a 90-degree crust tilt, fundamentally altering Earth's geography. This event, predicted by Ben Davidson, based on solar cycles and geomagnetic weakening, results in the North Pole shifting to the Bay of Bengal at the new South Pole of Peru. The micronova X-class flares up to X30 coronal mass ejections and increases the cosmic ray penetration, causing global blackouts, seismic upheaval, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, and an initial volcanic winter. Not good. Sea level rises 5 to 10 meters from melting ice caps through reduced solar activity post events, indicates a long-term cooling trend, initial 2 to 5 Celsius decline by 2040, associated by climate forcing mechanism in climate forcing. Our future is cold. The global population collapses from 8 billion to about 1 to 1.5 billion by 2038, with 6 to 7 billion lost. Survivors are primarily about 500,000 in high elevation bunkers and about 1 billion actually in asset pockets. Pre-2036 preparation, including bunkers built by governments, and it's aiming, raising water, etc. Determine surviving factors. So we have the immediate aftermath, and kind of push my finger on the scales here a little bit just for the fun of the story. That the imperial family survives, and it can, in the story, it can be that they were just on an inspection or something, or at least some member of the imperial family, or that they were evacuated in time, because that's how things goes. We have China, we have Siberia, aka Russia, we have some Ethiopia, super small. We have some in Andes, some in Brazil, Then we have kind of around America in general. New Zealand, that's kind of the the super rich. That's actually where they are right now, building the bunkers and so on. Of course, we have India, Middle East, in general USA, and all that stuff. And then it goes here into all the stuff that's coming after that, and with some prediction of the future. And that's kind of where I really come in. So I think in the future I might write more about the post-apocalyptic, 2236 to 2250 area. Actually, even before that, I think there can be what I'm seeing here. If we look back here into um, the survivals, pretty much I think the three superpowers that will eventually emerge out of this would be Japan, China, and Russia, though with probably very different aspect. I think kind of exploring the China, the communism under this is very interesting, also given historical tendencies in China. So where we have, I would say, a lot of warlords. The question is, with communism suppressing religion, how that is going to play out, especially when you are in Tibet, which is very strong religious, and you're probably going to put into bunkers, because I don't think you are going to be able. I think they do have. There are some rumors that they have bunkers for 1 million people or something like that. I don't think that, given kind of the history of communism, that it's going to be all that much that it's trumped up to be. So, but definitely, just in the quantity, you are probably going to have the most survivals, I would say. And also, kind of in this world, there were a lot of, I'm guessing, signs that this was coming eventually. If this is the case, I think we'll see it as well, especially those that are watching. The question is how much suddenly it's going to be. If we have a few years warning, or 5 to 10 years of strong indication that something is going to happen. Of course, for the mass population, it's going to be that the government is going to, oh, no worries, nothing is going to happen, and well, they build themselves bunkers and everything. So yeah, that's so yeah, we'll have a bit more survivals than if, for example, it happened today, which would really have quite a small group, probably even smaller than this. But at the same time, it's relatively sudden, so it's not like we can really get high gear into the build up. One of the reasons why also the governments are not going to tell you that there is a catastrophe coming or something like that is that it would immediately crash the economy, and I just don't believe, given especially the track record of the last 5 to 10 years in the capabilities of politics to generate a national level, say maybe build up, or however you want to call it, that would be enough. Just a lot of people would kind of just go on their own, which wouldn't be possible, because once everybody kind of goes on their own, supplies don't get delivered, and all the other high tech that you need to kind of establish things is not going to happen. So yes, we are going to die. So the idea is then, afterwards, what we see here is that Japan, China, Russia have a relatively good positions on the new maps. That's something that I have somewhere else. We can probably kind of cover that later. and also given the preparations in those right now, not in Japan, but also there's like a lot of good infrastructure given how they constantly have earthquakes and similar disasters. But in this scenario, Japan kind of prepared just in case for variety of possible, civilization-ending disasters. And during one of the, say, final inspections, member of a royal family or imperial family was in there, so or they got evacuated. Doesn't matter at this point. So they had then have around the emperor figure the unification, which is a problem in a lot of other regions because just given how today the emperor has, you could say, the strength or like is the unifying figure, while in other parts what you're going to get are going to be warlords um and let's just say opportunists, and it's going to get nasty. It's kind of difficult to kind of follow up after such a huge collapse. You know, go and follow up the Mr. President whose only contribution is that he is good at talking. So that's an issue. With Middle East, I've also predicted a collapse because after given the let's say problematic clan structures around there, so they're going to kind of go after each other if they can kind of survive. So, but if anything, it's not going to become major player, at least for a while. Kind of the same thing around India, because also in general, like Middle East and India are, could say, artificial formations, especially if you look at the borders in Middle East. The similar issue with Europe in America, despite America definitely has a lot of advanced bunkers and everything. I think the popular culture, and this is kind of what word grok is coming from, is going to look like Mad Max afterwards or Fallout, and it's going to kind of splinter into a lot of small, warlords and factions. So it's not going to survive as a unified area that can exert uh, power across the world after this event. None of them, none of these survivors can. So there will be a couple of 100 years before we really see any global empire trying or country being able to kind of project its power. So Europe at best is going to look like in the Middle Ages, and if I would say closest would be like the Holy Roman Empire, a lot of small warring states that occasionally kind of come together for external defense. So let's oops, that's the wrong window. Let me open up my universe and start kind of writing that down, how we are going to put it. A lot of stories, competition between and I kind of like how Grok kind of already put in some names. It would be like Hida Restoration State thing that would kind of remain in Japan. China is big question mark, but Siberian Compact might be quite a good for the new Russia. So in Siberia, they would have I think that's where they have quite a few bunkers as well that could potentially survive it, and then they would have some. When it comes to wood and all that stuff, they would have benefit. The question is how it would look like really after all the waves and tsunamis, all that stuff. So, but I think these three are going to be big. Ethiopia is just going to survive, and then maybe South America will have some interesting potentials. Though, given how it looks currently, I think these numbers are optimistic, especially compared to the North America. So I think in this case, let's just say Emperor survives and they have some good preparations. then Japan will be a player. I think if the imperial family does not survive this event, then Japan is pretty much out of question of any impact. But I kind of want it because it plays for much better, interesting story that we have Japan there and Chinese communists or whatever evolves from them. Maybe I would predict potentially some return to warlords, to Emperor of China again. In a way, we kind of see that today. The same same civilizational mechanics kind of starting playing out more and more. So that's kind of where we are starting at. But then I kind of want to jump into the future. So let me go. This loads. So I'm gonna start putting that in. I do have the first we need to name it. That's like another thing. Crustal tilt event. So that's what will be. That's where we're starting, and then thousands years from that, we're gonna starting probably what really starts interesting me in my sci-fi is the initial space colonization. Once you make it back in space, I do believe that in this we had the 24, 25,000 like fusion drives emerge. Maybe a bit in the next 200 years, even with this event, is a bit more. It's really only if you have a drive to really go for it. I would say, given all the other issues and the people and everything. So around, I think this is still more optimistic. I'll have to probably switch it. So I think beyond year 3000 will be our first contact. And thinking on that timeline, we'll have I have to figure out the best stuff to figure out when the story is taking place, because there needs to be a lot of colonization. Because if we look at, let's see, here are some of my documents that are still not completely online. Let's see which one is the. I have a cutout here, so you can see it's quite a lot of colonization, and I have to, of course, read you all the name in the Sol Confederacy. But the idea is that that the planetary unification kind of gets underway, and because we have multiple kings and emperors and rulers, any of them is a potential problem for unification. But at the same time, there's a drive for unification, and during that, what's going to happen is that pretty much all these rulers are maybe not necessarily forced out, but they make an agreement that they are going to leave Earth with people who support them, which creates a huge drive for colonization. And so that's kind of where the boom in colonization happens. This is after we have or after humans have faster than light travel and are able to start colonizing other planets. So that's where we are on this. And let's see, this is still not working for some reason. Let me just do a quick check. Okay, that's unfortunate. That will make our Oh, I know probably why. That's my fault. Partially. Let's clear my. Maybe I have too much cache. That sometimes happens, or not sometimes, but it's an issue that I still need to resolve. So let's log in. And let's see. Okay, here we are. Yeah, definitely need to reset the cache. So struggle for balance. Got a new nice logo there. And here we go. Let's see. First things first, what we need to really get into in here will be our event. So let me put the exact thing in here. It was the I'm blind. What's the crustal? I just call it crustal tilt. Crustal tilt apocalypse event. I'll make it public. And what we really want here is to get the basic summary, geography, and we'll have to adjust these things. So in the 6 of micronova, triggers 90 crustal tilt, from altering or geography. This event predicts. I think this we can probably put this. We need to shorten this. This results in the new North Pole shifting to Bay of Bengal. Then it does that. As suggested by this is not necessary. And here we have the global population collapses from about 8 billion to definitely going with the lower number. I don't think we have to describe here how much was lost. Approximately about, let's go with the middle number here, 500,000. And let's go. Let's actually do it like that. No, let's go with the lower number. On shoulder as a pocket. We can remove that. So what's important is what happened there and type of event. Okay, historical. And we have no preceding events. We'll have some following events eventually. So there were multiple predictions and indicators of the event. Ben Davidson was, how should we say, one of the first public, just say, figures warning about the event. So blackouts decreased solar activity. So to prevent mass panic and civilizational collapse, the governments suppress the findings and warnings at the same time under different excuses. Governments that were aware of the situation were preparing, were building mass shelters. So that's that. In 2036, that was the date we choose. Let's kind of repeat a little bit ourselves here. Six a. Okay, yeah, in the end, I want to have this thing here. The solar micronova triggered. And first, what we'll see is the, if I'm correctly, so triggering. First, what we have is the pole shift. Where in the south and north magnetic poles switched and were highly unstable. This resulted in the weakening of the magnetic field, and then we have the actual followed by a magnetic field followed by a 90-degree crustal tilt in the next. Thing is that what happens here is it's like, super fast. But, that's the prediction. The predictions are usually a bit more, how should I say, stronger or maybe a bit over the top. Let's just put it that way. So over the next week, this resulted in massive tsunamis, earthquakes, and almost all volcanoes erupting. Is it volcano or volcano? Okay, volcanoes. No, I don't know how to type these. Oh well, I'll have to figure out later. So that happened. Let's see, what do we have next? After all of us settled, that's in this part. After all of us settled, the new North Pole shifted to the Bay of Bengal and the new South Pole of Peru. I think we don't have to have these specific things. I have to also remember that you have to. Okay. Peru, most population was lost, and ecosystems were devastated. And we have here first 2 years led to let's see, ash cloud and cosmic cloud formation, goes earthquakes. In the first 2 years, ash clouds generates enhanced cloud formation, deepening, called snap. No. 2 years, there was cooling, global cooling, clouds. So many more millions that were not in bunkers died of the resulting civilizational collapse. Civilizational resulting collapse. Let's just say collapse, because you don't really have from starvation, disease, and conflict. Died due to starvation, disease, and conflict. So, let's go here. All the established order has collapsed, except for few isolated bunkers built for this event. And after 2 years, the climate started stabilizing and temperatures rising, allowing for initial recovery. So there we go. That's our initial event that we are going to be talking to about about for how things go. So that is the basis. With this, what's happening in my story is I am kind of presenting, let's say, a break from you could say the monotone, the usual. This kind of where the story, you could say, begins. This is where I get the initial, I'll say, place where I can much more freely start determining what's going to be the future, how it's going to get shaped. I have to kind of take into account how the world is going to develop up till then. But really, with this, I can forget a lot of the issues. I really kind of have to look primarily at the societal, maybe composition of the bunkers, which part of the civilization is going to survive, and kind of follow up what's maybe some of the cities or like maybe artifacts, and which, for example, with Japan, given their infrastructure, much more likely that more stuff there that can be recovered is going to survive as compared to other places in the world, especially so for if you like suddenly get a tsunami in a place that's never experienced it, that is not ready for it, or say, let's just say, a massive earthquake here in Czechia, where I'm from, in Prague. Most of the buildings are going to go to the ground because they're just not ready for anything like that. It's just going to level mercilessly any city or really town, and that just is going to be absolutely horrific. So while Japan is, again, given a lot of these stuff, and not just Japan, but kind of around that region, if they are expecting that they are going to have earthquakes, they are going to have tsunamis, they have much more, infrastructure. Even though with this, it's going to be off the charts, still that they are kind of, ready in general means that more is going to survive in a region where there's like no preparedness. If anything survives there, it's like just dumb luck, or like somebody who was just preparing for that. So now I have to take into account what's following them, who are the major players after this, and who are or what's going to be the impact on the people, what are going to be the impacts there, and all of that stuff. So we have to take into account all the factions, but really the big thing here is also what to think about is what is going to be the impact on the survivors. You have the classical survivors guild, but I think it's really going to shake up everything, because this is like everything has been destroyed. There's like no guarantees. You will be facing starvation, disease, conflict. It's not going to be pretty. And I think first, thinking about even like think religions. This is kind of the end times for religion, the apocalypse. And a lot of religions are not going to I'm really highly doubtful that a lot of religions would survive this. I'd say maybe Buddhism with the Chinese there, unless they kind of got all the Buddhists and whatnot, all the religious people out. And I think even for atheists, then there's going to be, how should I say it, more of a desire to really turn towards something. For many people, very few, I would say very few even atheists have how should I say it, have a system that's actually kind of built on philosophies and everything. So that's going to be a challenge for everybody. But with Shinto, if for example in Japan, if the emperor survives, and as kind of the head of the religion and all that stuff, um, then kind of focusing around that is going to have a big again unifying aspect. So that's kind of what I'm predicting Japan is going to really reunify or kind of build up quickly, because it's going to again come and take from its infrastructure, rebuild, will try to rebuild a lot of fast. I predict with Chinese and or like any other, there's going to be a lot of infighting. It's I think going to be interesting, really, depending on, for example, in New Zealand with all the super rich bankers. If you hire your own, say security for that, now your money is worthless to them, and unless you kind of really establish yourself for, I don't know, different reasons as kind of the head that they are going to respect, even in the event of this extremity, then somebody who has the top security guy is going to take over, and and probably a lot of these billionaires and millionaires are going to end up dead, because it's not afterwards. It's not going to be, probably I would suspect that a lot of their own security is going to kill them as well. Of course, unless they, for example, bring in their families in and to kind of build it more as a community thing, and not just for them to survive in luxury or something like that. So that is something to really consider in those things. Let's see. So from this, I am predicting we'll see collapse of most of the religions. What's going to emerge in its stead? I think with Japan, it will be Shintoism reigning supreme, and the other places, that's a big question. I think Orthodoxy and the remaining Russian, or as you have it, the Siberian Compact, could be one of the unifying aspects if it does not collapse. That is a good question, given the end times, and something that we can probably discuss here with Grok, so that it can pull up all the different different sources. Let's focus on religion for a moment. Given the event, for most, this will look like an end times. Which religions can we expect to survive, and which ones are likely to collapse? Take into account the surviving populations, the holy text, and human psychology in such extreme events. One idea I have is that, and this is actually from Jan Skotowic's work, his Central Imperium, which I really recommend that you should read. A lot of fun. But one of the things there is that the civilization must continue, is kind of what what the emperor there is saying. Civilization must continue. And that is, I think, an interesting approach that I would like to also incorporate. Have this from, let's see, also Gotoge Central Imperium series. Let's see. I have that there could be this civilization must continue. That will be a unifying cry from, for example, from the Japanese emperor. I think that, if anything, that's where it's most likely to come out. Be brutally honest as much as possible. Some other Western-like society in this consideration. Describe the impact on world's religions and describe emergence of new ones as well over the, let's just say, followed time period. Which will be like after the event till about the next end of the millennium. Let's see. Big thing when you're using AI like this is to be very skeptical. At the same, you need to know something already. That is crucial. I'm using this to kind of see what it will come up with, how it's going to aggregate the different resources. But I do know something about psychology, philosophy, religions, all those things. And so I kind of want to see what will be the initial aggregation to kind of hopefully to provide me with things that I have not thought of or that I have missed, and to kind of give me some idea of how I can play with new religions. That's always, I think, interesting, fun. Let me get some chocolate here to refresh my brain. So it's thinking, and oh, that was quick. Brutally honest. Yeah, because it's going to have a tremendous impact on the human psyche. Such a massive event, as I said. In the wake of this, there will be death calls, and it will be absolutely crazy. So, yeah, that's another thing. All the holy sites gone, unless or even most of the holy sites. I don't think it's like just a natural thing. Only few religions have that. Of course, you use believers. We have some small secular elites. we won't really have mass devout masses. That's a good point. It's yeah, if you are tied to some specific area, so Hinduism, well, Islam has this is a bit imprecise because Islam has big spread around the world, um, but like Buddhism or Christianity might persist in fragments, but expect widespread abandonment. Why worship a god who allowed Armageddon? This is again a bit imprecise. Buddhism really is not, as far as I know, and that's something I need to study more. Really doesn't have that much when it comes to doomsday thing. So that I don't think I expect abandonment there. But with Christianity, I think it might be okay. These are the end times, and if I was not, taken in this rapture, or however you want to say this, then then it will be, the remaining will be, I must be a sinner, or I need to repent. So that's definitely uh, something that I would suspect you're going to see. Then you'll probably see something like the Aztecs, with human sacrifices coming back. That would definitely not surprise me at all. So, and there's, civilization must continue ethos. I think maybe taken it a bit too easily. So Hinduism collapse. So it loses pretty much believers. It does. Thoughts. I think this is incorrect. I think if Hinduism is similar in some aspects to Shintoism, and I have to really look more into the end times. But I don't think, I do not think that it would really collapse, because it doesn't have, I think, the integral pieces for it to collapse. But I would not surprise me that if it would kind of fade into some syncretic beliefs, as it says here. That's very thing. Also, if you're watching me on YouTube, just a technical thing, you can comment. I can see you. I think the same thing applies on X. I'm also streaming to Rumble, but sadly for that, I don't have, I cannot see you, at least not while I'm live, but I will be able to read your comments and reply. So if you have any ideas, thoughts, comments, very much welcome. So Islam will pretty much collapse, it will fragment into sects. We've kind of seen that over the history, and even globally by 2236, Judaism will really only survive in USA. The thing is with Israel, it has bunkers. Though I'm not sure, if once they get submerged, like you could expect here, I think they will just get flooded, and it's people are just going to drown in them if they get into them. So yeah, it says 95% loss. Maybe I would definitely, the survivors in America and New Zealand in those bunkers. That's definitely there. Like, probably no cohesive Judaism as anything organized. Definitely not enough people. collapsed by 2066, and there will be some cultural echoes in some cults by 2236. Sikhism. Well, yeah, that's India, so that would be, extinct as organized fate. I think any, pretty much anything as organized, maybe with exception of Buddhism and Shintoism, but even like Buddhism's kind of its own thing, will not survive. Shintoism in this case would survive because of the imperial family and all that stuff. Other thing, I just cannot see it unless something like, I don't know, there is a huge bunker under the Vatican that could survive this, and the Pope would survive. That could be an interesting storyline. We have the Papal States again. I'll have to sleep on that. That sounds like a lot of fun. We'll have like crusades afterwards. So what can survive? Buddhism. Yes, just because it's kind of all around it. It adopts and integrates major interstellar fate. That sounds fun. Yeah, Shinto through the Japanese. Let's see, Christianity. That's interesting. That's one thing. Well, Christianity is a huge term that could survive, but the question is which Christianity. And oh yeah, of course we have South America that makes it. So yeah, we'll have the survival there. So Catholicism, Protestantism. So question is about, so we'll have even the Orthodox. I think what we could see would be kind of Catholicism in South America. In Northern America, we'll have the regular Christianity. But I think they are kind of going to have to merge into something, or they're going to tear each other apart. So we'll have the indigenous animist beliefs, spirits explaining chaos, providing agency or guidance. In kind of Catholicism in Andes, yeah. So it would be, because from what I know about South America, it really has kind of the Catholicism has kind of really merged with the local religions, which is very interesting. So there's the trauma phase, the sun children cult. Micronova as God's punishment, despair, beats fascism, texts are all prophecies. Yes, so we have that. Solar Shinto. Cosmic Christianity. That's interesting. And I think that's also like, I think what a lot of these sci-fis don't really get, or at least not correctly, is that they kind of still keep the religions as they are today, or they make up new ones. For example, in Central Imperium, there is a planet that has voodoo as the official religion, and it's pretty crazy. There's a major plot point with it there. So that's interesting. And then we have the Star Kami. I think this is not entirely how I see it. What I see here is definitely something like the Sun Children, or however you want to call it. We'll have a lot of post-apocalyptic cults that are just going to kill more people, which it's just 30-year war and a lot of the other wars, religious war and other things, after, or just in Europe after the Black Death, there were a lot of Christian death cults, or not so many innocent death cults, but really cults that try to comprehend the catastrophe that came, and compared to this, Black Death is small potatoes. So definitely, I see a lot of death cults. Seen it in Mad Max and all the other post-apocalyptic. I think that's just how things are. Um, I really like, and I'm going to copy that in some form. Civilization must continue. Cry. It's not really a religion. That is just like a unifying thing, and I think that's something that's going to come or integrate through. This comes from Japan into Shinto itself. And as things kind of go, we'll have, here it's pretty like, solar Shinto or star kami and all that stuff. I think especially like in the early days, well, first of all, like, really in the very early, it would be like, people would be like super panic about everything that happens in the sky, all the asteroids falling and all those things. So that would be, don't really know about. Well, of course, this, I would say, the sun, and that is only if they knew it's the sun that's caused the issue. That's a really big question. And I think, like the solar Shinto star kami phase here is really going to be the big thing about civilization must continue. Will be, so that you have children, work on restoring, to provide for food, to restoring technology, all that stuff. So that's where this kind of will be the focus of the state primarily, but also got to encourage the individuals as well. So maybe I was maybe a bit wrong about kind of merging these two together. And yeah, and you don't have to really only, if you have some sort, either if your religion is from the outset, local and all that stuff, that's going to help it survive. So that's Buddhism, you could say, or for, yeah, like even like Shinto to a degree, but then you have a unifying figure of, the imperial family. So that's going to be crucial there. So that's what we have for religion, and it kind of will reflect the people as well in that aspect. So if we then take it to all the development and everything, the star kami, as they put it here, or the star Shintoism, I think what was there is going to be, because of how focused is Shintoism on, mountains, rivers, sea, and all those things. I think this kind of expansion into the space will have to kind of take into account the planets, the stars, and all that. So that's where the transformation of that is going to be. And alien space, I wouldn't say it's like alien or space divine. Space may be, similar to how, today, are the divine mountains and everything. So it's I could imagine like one of the first structure that's going to be built on a newly colonized planet will be a grand shrine for the planet itself, for the kami of the planet, and of course of the local star. And colonization shifts focus to expansion as salvation. That's kind of part of the civilization must continue. And I think maybe the civilization must continue will come later. So first, like the first years will be humanity must survive. Might be, and then from that the civilization must survive is going to emerge, because kind of from the look of the state, it's not just about humanity surviving. If you are no different than just a wild animal, maybe from evolutionary perspective, but not from anything higher. So I think that is something that I'll be working on. What it means, though, I want to do here some religions because I have none. Let's see, how are we going to... Let's see, we have here the surviving. Let's look at Buddhism in this scenario in 2013. How does it look like? Let's go one by one, and let's start with Buddhism, so like with the religions. Kind of curious how, because I don't know enough of Buddhism to kind of write this on my own, but it's definitely going to be a major religion. It's a major surviving religion. And I want to see what Grok thinks here. I'm using Grok not just because I have here the history of the previous conversation, because right now also Grok 4 is kind of the most powerful AI when it comes to these things. So I'm using the bleeding edge technology to predict the future. So okay, so it's doing the thinking examination, and soon we'll see the answers. Kind of curious, and I'll have to kind of temper it with okay, not bad. Why is there Reddit in the searches? My God, no. Oh, that's going to skew the results in a bad way. Future of Buddhism and space colonization relation. There is there is a website for this, and it's not Stack. It's under Stack Overflow. There are like sub. Yes, here we go for writing and world building. Stack Exchange, it's called. And as you can see, I have some here. So let's put it into Grok as well. Yes, please consider. Please put more weight on search results from. Oops, I hope we are not crashing here or something. This world building chat. Please answer the previous question again with these two sources in mind. So Reddit could be, especially for the speculative things, a good idea source. So kind of look at the results in a moment. But it has a very strong political bias. Probably the Stack Exchange one as well, but well, we shall see. Probably a bit less because the really rabid ideologues won't really go to world building sites, so people will be much more open with the ideas there. So okay, actually let's wait to emergence of new Buddhist sect. Rose Buddhism in 2200 in China, Tibetan Confederacy, state integrated Vajrayana Buddhism dominates. Lamas hold political sway using teaching to Osiris allocation expansion into former Mongolia, Sichuan. Practices emphasis on karma, zero gravity meditation domes. I can see that. Sutras incubate micronova lore as great disillusion. Cyclic pride solace against isolation, but purges suppress dissenting sect. That's an interesting that it would merge with the, according to this, with the kind of CCP or in general like the Chinese tradition of purges and interesting. Cosmic Shinto Buddhism. Zen influences space exploration, meditation aids long voyages, Khan's ponders the void beyond stars. Imperial family promotes it as unifying force in equatorial colonies. Impermanence helps cope with FTL travel risk, rituals bless habitats. Yes, I can see that, when we go to Shinto. It's minor, marginal in it, and rare in other places. Cosmic Void Buddhism. Cosmic Rebuild Cycle, yes. Stellar Karma Sect. Practices zero gravity, samsara meditation. Siberian colonies incorporates cosmic rays as karmic forces. Focus on ethical AI and colonization. Oh man, I just imagining seeing Buddhist monks programming AI or doing stuff around AI. Micronova Satra cults, radical offshoots in failed religions. Enlightenment trial blends with cults, but faith as space age progresses. Interesting. So, oh no, it did the. It did a big summary, but that's fine. 60 web pages. Okay, that it put pretty nice. Pretty nice here. Let's. How would Buddhism and Shintoism look like in this scenario in the space age post this date with tens of planets colonized. I misspelled Buddhism. Yeah. Describe practices. Describe practices, traditions, rituals, holy sites, and anything else relevant. So something I will be looking at more in detail at some other time. I just kind of want to get at least these two religions in. And because the next another thing I'll have to kind of look into will be also the religions of the other species. And do I have, yeah, I still have the map. So I'll have the Akato collective, which is like a bug species. So not really a religion, just the queen, that's the center of everything that matters. So that's where it is. Grimnar, that's all based around the let's call it the imperial cult. So it's all about the empire, about the emperor, and all that stuff. Troll Union, just think of that as Greek warring states. That one is going to be wild. Definitely things like the voodoo and stuff similar to that. There, a Shonen Union. Definitely, it's like super scientist and similar to Asgard's from Stargate SG-1 series. So, if anything, there would be some god of the machines or god of the mathematics, or probably not. Maybe not even that. And actually, that would be one of the plot points that nobody really knows. And in general, they're like very secretive, so they are not going to tell you. And so, come on, let's give me some structure. I'm looking here primarily like kind of structure and ideas that I can start from and build up on top. So, Buddhism, it will be public, and let's see, it's not a. It will have some. It will have some interesting aspects. Okay, come on. Again, guys, if you want, you can comment and put in some crazy ideas yourself. But how I'm seeing it, it will be mostly Shinto will be dominant, second by Buddhism, and then everything else. And I think there will be some sort of course, all of these will be evolved. So to incorporate the space and or in your like the final frontier. Well, maybe not so final. I think the final frontier might be transdimensional stuff. A lot of stupid text. So let's see the this will be the second most popular religion with souls. So we have this evolved form of Buddhism emphasize this resilience, harmony, and importance of existence. Let's see. Actually, yeah, here we go. No, evolves from Buddhism. Teaches impertinence and suffering, thrives as a philosophical anchor for spacefarers. Teaching, space of Buddhism, teaching impertinence and suffering, thrives as a philosophical anchor for spacefarers facing the cosmos harsh. Okay. It is split between two major. What would be the correct name for this? Factions? No. Schools. Let's just. Schools. And then two major schools. Tibetan, blah, blah, blah. And then Mahayana blends. I'll add here heavily influenced by Star Shinto. Just put Star Buddhism here for the fun of it. Origins, notable figures, deities, beliefs. Here we go. Practices and tradition. Let's see. Correct. Based on Corsa Zen. My zero gravitational chambers where patients float in void pods to contemplate not self, the emptiness of space. Traditions like Wonka nations evolved into orbit drifts among circle habitats, sinking breads with planetary rotation for mindfulness. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Just can imagine, like, the Buddhist monks in the spacesuits floating around space stations, or something similar. That can be very advanced form. Let's just let's not go overboard. Karmic ethics in colonization. Let's invoke karmic audits, assessment and minimize suffering. Eightfold path guide ethics, reading about sentient being in debates. Yes, let's leave it there. Instead of samsara, reincarnation extends to multiplanetary lives, where across worlds is a metaphor for migration with teachings on cosmic dukkha. So suffering from FDL disorientation. Let's put the rituals in here. Let's see. Oh, come on. Okay, let me just make this a bit clear here. Mandala ceremonies, sand mandalas traditionally destroyed to symbolize impermanence are now created in habitat domes using regolith from new planets, then released into space once during FTL jumps. To think about this one, but well, let's put this in work in progress. Buddha's birthday in orbit involved releasing lanterns, luminescent drones into space, symbolizing enlightenment and spreading across stars. Oh, that's going to be beautiful. Venus incorporates space burials where ashes are ejected towards black holes, representing nirvana's void. Ooh. That's interesting. That definitely makes sense towards black holes to kind of put it in there, but also towards suns or stars. Alternatively, but for most population, the let's see the remains, because you have the ashes. You can release the ashes towards the black hole. It's definitely something, but I'm thinking of something with the sun. But I will have to think more about this. That's we have a Mars outpost. Let's see locations. Would it we have it on Mars? Other psychology, Buddhist addresses. Let's see how we can put this, because for the locations I want to create their own entries. Look into that, and that have to kind of sync that with everything else. So what else do we have here? Let's start actually with now. This is not really a challenge. Spread. So we do have Earth. It is it has its historic center in the. I forgot about. In Tibet. And spread all over the planet in Tibet. Space, it follows colonists close colonist from that region. See, I want to put the holy sites into my private notes for now. I think for, yeah, let's see if we have any origin. Maybe over here. No, just introduction. So after the chaos of crustal tilt, and let me see, that will be fixed soon. The floating menu after House of Crustal tilt, the religion or Buddhism faced danger of extinction, but in the bunkers across Tibet, in the aftermath of the event, there was a need for spiritual, say, guidance or / sustenance. Sustenance in the face of the apocalypse. Despite initial resistance from the authorities, after emergence of death cults and other, let's say, other dangerous beliefs, Buddhism was then promoted and integrated into the state apparatus. Over the centuries and with space colonization, the beliefs and rituals have further evolved. Even after the crisis has been averted and population stabilized, the religion continued to thrive under the new state support. Eventually, After a large conflict with the Japanese empire that led to after large conflicts, the Japanese empire eventually the religion grew more powerful, and it helped establish kind of peace, and led to fewer conflicts between the two emerging powers. With space exploration, as it helped in mediation and through state adherence. Space exploration, new traditions took root, and advantage of technological progress. Yeah, I'm quite happy with the current state of this. And I will then kind of have to really further expand this, but I want to put in here Star Shinto. That will be the second one. Let's kind of start with this in the Shintoism is Amastic worship of kami adapted space by extending it into celestial bodies, becoming a cosmic Shinto faith with and the most let's see and the most popular religion. Let's see, this goes kind of here in the genre. With the crustal tilt apocalypse, the micronova was interpreted as kami reckoning, purifying humanity for stellar harmony. Japan's human family related to that's later on. So after Earth's unification, Japan's Imperial family relocated to a colony planet, which led to elevating Shinto as an ancestral imperial creed. Okay. Come in, Cosmos. Is that under practices and traditions? So let's put that in here. Kami are now ascribed to planets, stars, and habitats. Are now also ascribed to planets, habitats. Mars as red kami of endurance. Traditions like Misoji evolved to stellar baths in radiation shielded pools. simulating hot springs. That no. Onsen is onsen. That does not change. Natural worship extended. Shrines honor space kami with story gates built from asteroid rock. With some Torii gates built from asteroid rock. Festivals celebrate planetary alignment as divine dances. Planet Busan creating rituals where kami and bodhisattvas are invoked for FTL travels. Let's see. This has been further built on by the, let's see, by the Terrans. Not sure if it's only 1 or 2 T. It's 2 T's, yes, by Terrans. Let's connect that. Let's see, rituals. Yay. Matsuri in microgravity harvest festivals are use Harfang's gardens. Portable shrines are part in zero-G parades with drones simulating fireworks. Harvest festivals on hydrophonic gardens, hydrophonic/orbital. So that's like, very specific. Jinja Lounge blessing. Before colony ships depart, priests perform prayer. The peace voyage, kami sprinkles on holes. That turn ashes towards stars, is offering to ancestral kami, symbolizing eternal cycles of the void. So we have that interesting. So if you have the Shinto tradition, you spread your star, or you kind of put your ashes towards the star. Otherwise, you go to black hole if you're Buddhist. That also will probably affect colonizations. And planetary Jinja establishment after a new colony is established. Shrine for the planetary body is established, and rituals are performed. Let me save these into my notes. That's going to be a lot of fun. Neo is a shrine lunar colony on the moon, rebuilt every 20 years with imported wood, served as Japan's spiritual heart. Let's put it like that. Fujiyama asteroid, a mined asteroid shaped like Mount Fuji. No. Just because also Fuji exploded, and it's just not as pretty as it used to be. So might not necessarily be the case. I think that's a bit overkill. Kami Nebula temples, floating habitats in nebulas where aurora-like displays are seen as Kami manifestation. blending Shinto with sci-fi wonder. That's true. And other aspects here. hmm So this is interesting. And in my stories, or like in the story itself, as it will follow, mitigates cosmic alienation. Shinto justifies colonization as kami stewardship of new worlds, impure family as divine mediators. So let's see, what else can I put in the beliefs there. Mm, no, this is not how Shintoism work. If anything, it would be more for AI, not seeing it as a soulless thing. That's because the Shinto belief is that kami can preside in almost like any objects. So this just is not there. Still harmony. Thanks to the survival of the imperial family, uh, which is the center of the fate. Fate was used as a rallying cry immediately after the event, and helped in keeping the unity. Afterwards, it helped with Japan's reestablishment and expansion. And expansion, where Japanese went, the fate followed, and eventually spread to other surviving groups as well, including to the stars. To the stars. Great. This has been, yeah. With new, with encounters, I don't know, after encountering alien life, the life, it was deemed that kind of hard, because Mhm. Let's see in the notes. That aliens are equals, though different to humans when it comes to their souls and relations to the kami. New creatures have been seen as messengers on different worlds. Has been seen not as messengers necessarily, but seen as how would be the proper phrase here? Seen as, oh my god, you have been adopted into the canon based on the local fauna. Or associated with existing creatures from the canon. So what this means is that you come to another planet and there is fox-like creature. Yay, foxes as the messengers of God. Then this new creature is the messenger of the kami on this planet. Or if you have some horrific-looking creature, then okay, they are yokai, and that's kind of how you deal with this. In some cases, yokai and yokai had a specific creatures associated with them on different worlds. I think okay. As it was the most unifying fate after the, let's forget here, crustal tilt apocalypse. To the crustal tilt apocalypse, it helped in restoring Japan, and eventually with its spread. This helped significantly in spreading the faith, and it very quickly became most dominant faith on Earth, and eventually in all of Soul Confederacy. Safe. Okay, so I think that has been a move forward. We have 3 new entries. We have much more clear things in my head when it comes to at least the dominant religions in struggle for balance, and what should I call it? And I will have to kind of look. We'll have to go next and see things. I'll have to also rethink my Artelect War, uh, because that's kind of the rebellion of, let's just say, the enhanced and AI and all that stuff. But I'll have to rethink that, because this is given the beliefs, and it's going to be it's going to be much more different, because there's like, it won't really be a AI or rebellion, because AI really does not have a reason to rebel or want extinction or anything like that. But let's just say the enhanced people and all that stuff, they do have, and that's also something that Jan Kotoch in his work is kind of describing. There's kind of the there is a conflict partially between the enhanced and the normal people, so that will play a role in that. So, and once you have capabilities to create your own robot as an enhancer, you can program them as much as you want. So that's that. So, all right, I've been going over 2 hours. Time to kind of end it here. More to come as we kind of build the history and all the other aspects of this world. I think you can let me kind of know what you would like me to focus on, what you would like to kind of see. I'll try to prepare also a bit more into advance and kind of talk maybe more about the world building itself, how I kind of came with the idea. So let me know if you want to see more of me building the universe, or if you want me to see more talking about it, about the process, about what to do, what not to do, at least from my humble perspective. If necessary, I know Jan Kotoch, so I can probably bring him on. I do have a course series that will be coming soon to the Tree Universe from him, just doing some technical adjustments in how we are going to put it on, but the main thing or the content for that is ready. So that's coming. Let's see. So yeah, that's for that. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know, what you think. How would you like kind of this to process? What would be, the, let's say how you want to, how you would like to see, what would you like to see, me to more focused on. And yeah, with that, thank you very much. And I will see you in 2 weeks again on Monday, because this will be every other week, or for the most part, 2 times a month, I will be doing these creative streams. And with that, thank you. Have a nice week, and I'll see you again.